Hey, and welcome to the Dice Tower. I'm Camilla, and today I'm going to bring you, of 2023, and today I'm going to bring you, of 2023, my top 10 weeknight games. Now, what is a weeknight game? A weeknight game to me is one that you can come home and comfortably play after a long day of work. It's going to be satisfying, giving you some great decisions, but also be pretty simple in the rule set. It doesn't mean it's going to be an easy or a light game, but the rules are easy to hold on to from gameplay to gameplay. Because after a long day at work, I don't want to put my head in a rule book. I don't want to be looking up little nuances and exceptions to rules and all that. I want a really fluid, comfortable experience that's also going to challenge me and ultimately leave me satisfied. So that's a weeknight game to me. Sometimes maybe it's playing with one other person, a partner, or a significant other, something like that. Maybe it's solo, maybe it's with your family. A little bit of everything in this list, but they all have in common. They're going to get to the table quickly, they're going to play smoothly, and there's going to be low overhead on the rules. So let's check out my top 10 games of 2023 that I like to play on weeknights. First up at number 10, we have Get On Board. This is going to be the Paris and Rome one, which was new for 2023. It is based on and very similar to the first one, which was the New York and London maps. However, in Paris and Rome, they streamline some of the rules, which I feel really loosen up your game plan. So for example, in the first one, the New York and London, traffic is a bad thing and you have to figure out when you want to go on the same path as your opponents. On this one, in the Paris and Rome, that traffic is actually beneficial and you can use it to further your plan and get additional bonuses. I really like that. Like I said, it just loosens the gameplay a little bit, but there's still that tension that I love with every flip of the card. You're kind of counting down your options and mapping out, hoping the right card comes out at the right time, but still leaving yourself open enough just in case they don't work in your favor. It's really quick to play. If everybody knows the rules, you're looking at like a 20-minute game here, and the setup and cleanup is less than 5 minutes each. I love the original, but I feel like this new Paris and Rome one just takes it a little bit further, making it a little more comfortable without sacrificing that tension. And for that, Get On Board Paris and Rome is my number 10. At number 9, we have NAR. Now, NAR is just the engine building, drafting goodness in a very small, compact package. That doesn't mean it's a limited scope game, though. You're building up this engine of cards in front of you, right? And you want to get the same kind of color. The kicker is, though, you're also using that engine that you've built to pay for cards, which are going to be boons and bonuses and endgame scoring opportunities. I love that. So it's such a great decision space of when are you building up your engine and really trying to maximize it to get that flow of resources that you need, versus when are you spending your engine and kind of deconstructing it a little bit in order to go that more strategic long-term route. But again, super easy. You get to the table in like 2 minutes, shuffle 2 decks, and boom, you're ready to go. I love that. So it's tense, it's quick, it's punchy. My number 9 is NAR. And at number 8 is Spellbound. Spellbound is absolutely charming comfort food of a game. This is one where you're going through and you're gathering resources in order to try and complete some spells in front of you. Now these spells, as you complete them, are going to give you different powers that are going to build you up for the rest of the game and make you feel a little bit asymmetric. But I love that everybody is going to have the same powers in front of you, but depending on how you build them, which one and which order do you build them in, as well as what strength do you build them in, really sets your gameplay. So it feels like a really tactical game where you're making decisions in the moment to feed into this longer term strategy of ultimately trying to complete all your spells. So my number 8 is Spellbook. As opposed to my number 10, number 7 is an actual roll and write game. This is going to be Pioneer Rails. Pioneer Rails really doesn't bring anything new to the table. So why is it my number 7 here? I feel like what it brings and does really well is you never feel like you have a wasted turn. I love that 3 cards come out, and so you have that good tension of the active player is going to choose one of those cards and it takes it out of the pool for you. I love that decision. And then as you're going through and you still have 2 choices to choose from, and you're looking at your board trying to maximize any long-term strategy goals. Where are you trying to make it long-term versus short-term? Which are you trying to complete so that you can ultimately get that boon? as well as the cards you don't choose is going into a poker hand. So you're thinking that longer term, you're building up a poker hand with what you choose. So there's multiple layers of this decision to where you don't feel like you waste a turn, you're just maximizing your turns. And if I love anything in a roll and write, it's going to be that turn maximization and really trying to just milk it for every point that's there. So my number 7 is Pioneer Rails. Number 6 is Age of Wonders Planetfall. Now, story time here. There was one day, I call this a weeknight game because here I am on like a Wednesday at work, have been recording all day and had my head down in Dice Tower E stuff. I was tired. And we've all been there. We're looking at the clock and we're like, 46 minutes. What can I do in 46 minutes to justify to my boss that I'm working, but I'm done? So here we go, and some of the guys in the office, they're like, hey, I need to play this game anyway, let's jump into this. And this game drew me in. By my second turn, I knew how to play, I was strategizing, and I felt very engaged. So this is a good weeknight game because it just brings that excitement and that tension, but man, it's so smooth. I love the decision in this space, this decision space in this game, where you're trying to decide when to prioritize turn order. There's only 7 rounds in the game, but every card matters, and you're really, I find myself just really immersed in this game and really hooked on, I need that card. My gameplay depends on that card. I find this game so engaging. I'm involved on other people's turns, I'm involved on my turn, and ultimately each turn is like 6 seconds total. So it's great gameplay, easy to get to the table. My number 6 is Age of Wonders Planetfall. Such a great weeknight game. Number 5 is Dragon Keepers. And again, we're going to kind of keep with the theme here with these charming games. Dragon Keepers, I describe it as like a side quest to Legends of Andor. Dragon Keepers is set collection with some great mitigation in it. You have 2 different decks. Ultimately, you're trying to make sets of dragons of the same color in order to play out, but you have to meet requirements that are out. So you can use those dragons to either make a set or you can use them to mitigate the set requirements. So that's a really interesting, it feels like push your luck as you're drafting these cards, and you can draft up to 3 cards. So you're like, oh, do I take one more to try and maximize my set here? But that's also gonna, if you're drawing one up, then it is going to change the set requirements. Can you afford to do that? So it feels like push your luck, but there's no busting. Super easy to play with the family. It's charming, it's inviting with the artwork, but again, doesn't sacrifice that interesting decision space. So number 5 is definitely hitting my table right now on the weeknights. I'm absolutely enjoying the heck out of it. It's Dragon Keepers. Number 4 is another drafting game, and this is going to be Forest Shuffle. What I think sets this one apart, though, in the drafting is your ability, not your ability, your requirement, really, to build your own endgame scoring. So you're going to be drafting cards to hand and playing them out in front of you, trying to meet certain synergies kind of in your forest that you're building. Some animals can only go on the tree top, such as birds. Others can only go on bottom, like mushrooms or some ground dwellers, things like that. So you're building out your forest with all your different trees, trying to maximize your scoring. I love that there's so many different animals and so many different strategies in this one game. There's one deck of cards. You shuffle that deck of cards, very similar to what we were talking about before with Nar, but there's only one deck. So you shuffle that deck, you put it on the table, you're ready to start playing. I love that. But then also on your turn, you're engaged and, oh, they just put out that birch tree. I need that birch tree. Or, oh my gosh, Tom loves the squeakers. He's all about the little squeakers. And so if a squeaker goes out, I know he's just like antsing to get it, which of course means I take it. But that's not here or there. Just because it's a weeknight doesn't mean we can't poke each other a little bit. So, then ultimately he gets the bear and it eats all my animals. And I just, easy to set up, easy to clean up. Shuffle a deck, put a deck away. Done, easy, quick. Super quick turns, but interesting decisions. My number 4 is Forest Shuffle. At number 3 is Silver and Gold Pyramids. Now this is the re-implementation of Silver and Gold with a little bit different theme and some tweaked rules here. So similar to how I felt about Get On Board back at number 10, the changes they made are very small. But that makes a classic feel fresh. I love that in this one, you don't have to complete a card in order to score it and move on. You have that autonomy of when you're going to score that card, of when you finish the path from start to finish. But are you really maximizing that card? but that's also playing into your strategy because you're trying to get those sets of colors for those points. So you want to finish those cards quickly, or do you want to go through the resource generation and make sure you're really maximizing that scoring to get the right gems that you need and things like that at that time. So it really kind of opens up the decisions on this and just makes, again, this classic feel fresh. It's the same great quality that we've seen in these cards with the dry erase cards, and it's just very pleasing to get to the table, but feels updated. So my number 3 is Silver and Gold Pyramids. Now, number 2 is the heaviest game on the list, and that is going to be Imperial Miners. And I say the heaviest game on the list. It's more like the most gamery game on the list here. I think what really sets this one apart is this mine that you're going out and you're exploring and you're going down, you're building it out, and that you get to trigger it over and over again. So you're really thinking as you're drafting these cards and playing them out, you're looking to make sure you have the right connections so that you can build those up and get those points, but you also want to make sure you have the right synergy in these paths so that your resources are paying off. I love that decision space. So it's the most gamery as you're looking at multiple different things and trying to strategize more forward than some of the other games. It's a little less tactical than some of the ones we've talked about. But at the end of the day, you're still just doing one of 3 actions, which are on this fantastic player board. It's right there in front of you. So even if you do have a little, oh, what can I do again on my turn? It's right there in front of you. Look at your board. I love that. So it's a very clean game, but brings that gamery experience where you feel like you're strategizing. And for that, Imperial Miners is my number 2. And in the number 1 spot, this is the game of 2023 that I want to play on a weeknight. It's also the only cooperative game on the list. This is going to be Sky Team. It is going to be a limited communication game where you're trying to land an airplane. So you and it's a 2-player only game as well. So you and your other player here, you're rolling dice, which are hidden from each other, and you're having to allocate those dice out on a shared board to meet certain goals. But you can't say anything about your dice. In that way, it kind of reminds me of The Crew, where you're trying to not just create or complete goals by playing cards, and this one in dice, but you're also trying to communicate with something. Maybe you know you can take care of a goal, so you're not worried about that, but does your partner know that you can complete that goal? Or maybe you are going really high on a number and you need to let them know this is the best I can do here. You're going to have to pick up the slack. You can't say that. You got to say that with dice. But what does that mean? The dice is just number 4. So, but it's not frustrating, and that's what I love. Limited communication sometimes just makes me want to just use your words. Be an adult. Use your words. Just tell me. And I don't get that feeling from this one. I love the modules that it brings to the table, so every gameplay feels fresh. How hard do you want to go? Where do you want to do? It's the great theme as well. If you actually look up these airports, I love the fact that the London one has a bunch of weather involved in it, because you don't know what the weather's going to be there. Is it going to be windy? Is it going to be foggy? Probably both. Yes. Or is there a different elevation you have to take into account at different airports? So I love that the modules keep the game fresh. I like the limited communication. It's not frustrating, but it's the same basic rule set over and over again without feeling stale. And so for that, Sky Team is my number 1 most recommended game of 2023 to play on a weeknight. All right, and there you have it, guys. Those are my top 10 recommendations for games from 2023 to play on a weeknight. Like I said, multiple of these I've been soloing. Others do require a partner. Like my number 1, Sky Team, is a 2-player only game. But man, some great variability here. All of these quick to the table, quick setup, very comfortable gameplay, but still give you that satisfying tension that I look for in games. What have you been playing this year in 2023 on your weeknights? Let me know in the comments down below some more things that I should check out. Also, do you like any of these? Tell me some of your experiences. I look forward to hearing it. Until next time, I'm Camilla. Keep on gaming.